চলুন দেখে নেওয়া যাক some prompting rules of thumb. Okay, so a particular phrase rules of thumb, what does it mean? এর অর্থ কি? Well, according to Google, rule of thumb is basically a broadly accurate guide or principle based on practice rather than theory. Okay, so these are the rules that prompt engineering experts derived based on their experience, right? So experts, based on their practice and their experimentations, they came up with these rules. Okay, with that being said, আমাদের মাথায় রাখতে হবে there is no perfect way of designing a prompt, right? It all depends on your specific situation, right? It is all about what you really want and how good you are at formulating your needs the right way to ChatGPT. Okay, and not only that, আমরা এটাও দেখেছি while formulating our needs to ChatGPT, designing our instruction to ChatGPT, we have to follow a rigorous process of trial and error until we are satisfied with the output generated by ChatGPT, right? So having these points settled, let us discuss some rules to keep in mind when engineering prompts. Okay, so rule number 1, be specific. You already know this, right? It is all about what you want, right? যে বিষয়টা আপনার মাথায় রাখতে হবে, ChatGPT, it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know what you want. ChatGPT, it cannot read our minds, right? So you have to be very expressive to ChatGPT. You have to be specific, descriptive, and as detailed as possible about what you want. You have to specify your purpose. You have to add maybe context, outcome, the length of the output, the format and style of your output, right? And you have to trial and error to figure out the best possible response. যেমন when we asked ChatGPT, write an intro for my resume, which is nothing but a plain instruction, the output ChatGPT generated was not very satisfying, right? So আমরা যেটা করেছি, along with the instruction, we added some output indicator, এবং surprisingly the output this time it was relatively better, right? Not only that, we also provided ChatGPT with input data, and as a result the output it got even better, right? And finally, যখন ChatGPT কে আমরা specific context provide করেছি, তাকে আমি বুঝিয়ে দিয়েছি what to keep in mind. Well, guess what? আমরা আমাদের desired output পেয়েছি, right? So you have to be very descriptive when it comes to prompt engineering. Okay, rule number 2, you have to format the prompt itself. Okay, in this case I'm not talking about format as in output indicator, right? So আমরা জানি we use output indicator to format the output, right? We indicate how the output would be, but this particular format, I'm talking about the format of the prompt itself. Okay, we have to use certain delimiters to clearly indicate distinct parts of the prompt, okay, so that ChatGPT she বুঝতে পারে from this prompt which one is the input data, which one is our context, what is the instruction specifically, and what is the format of the output. Okay, so remember this particular prompt. Do you notice how I formatted this particular prompt? কিভাবে আমি আমার প্রম্পটটিকে সাজিয়েছি এবং অর্গানাইজ করেছি। If you notice, the context and instruction, it's actually separated by a new line, right? Similarly, the instruction and the format, the output indicator, it is also separated by a new line. So আমি ChatGPT কে বুঝিয়ে দিচ্ছি, well, the upper portion, it's the context, the middle portion is my instruction, and the rest of the prompt is my format, right? I'm separating the elements of the prompt, okay? এবং শুধু তাই নয়, যদি আপনি নোটিস করেন, I actually used double quotation to distinctly indicate the input data to ChatGPT. Okay, anything that is under double quotation, ChatGPT she বুঝে নিচ্ছে, well, this is my input data. Okay, and notice I also used numbered bullet points to actually describe the output format. Okay, so formatting the prompt so that ChatGPT she বুঝতে পারে what are the distinct parts of the prompt is always a help. Okay, with that being said, let's move to rule number 3, which is keep it simple if you can. Okay, so এতক্ষণ আমরা কথা বললাম how we have to be very specific, how we have to format the prompt, we have to be very expressive to ChatGPT, right? But depending on the situation, sometimes being too specific might be an overkill. Okay, so যখন আমরা আমাদের prompt design করছি, we have to be careful so that we do not over engineer our prompt. Okay, for example, the other day আমি একটি assignment করছিলাম, a handwritten assignment on something called Prim's algorithm, এবং ওই particular assignment I had to do it on a piece of A4 size paper. Okay, so I needed to know the size or the dimensions of that A4 paper. এখন যদি আমি আপনাকে জিজ্ঞেস করি, well, what's wrong with this prompt? এই particular prompt এর প্রবলেমটা আসলে কোথায়? So again, same question. What is my purpose? What do I really want? আমি চাচ্ছি to know the size, the dimensions of an A4 paper, right? Do I really need to tell ChatGPT যে I'm doing a handwritten assignment and why I need an A4 paper, then describing what this Prim's algorithm is? এত কিছু বলার কি দরকার আছে? This particular prompt is an example of over engineering, where we mention things that are not really necessary. A better way to ask the same question to ChatGPT would be simply, what are the standard dimensions of an A4 paper, right? This is actually a much better way to do it, because a particular prompt, it serves my purpose. It does exactly what I want. But a particular prompt, it's very simple compared to the one on the left side, which has so many unnecessary information. Similar to this, we have rule number 4, যেটা হলো avoid ambiguity, right? So যখন আমরা prompt design করছি, we have to be careful, we have to avoid imprecise descriptions, right? For example, এই প্রম্পটটা যদি আপনি লক্ষ্য করেন, this particular prompt is a very good example of an imprecise কিংবা ambiguous question. Okay, even I as a human, আমি যখন এই particular sentence দেখছি, to me it's kind of a bit irritating, right? So let us have some mercy on ChatGPT and let's ask this question in a more precise manner. We can write this question like this: How do different cultures and religions interpret the purpose of human existence? Explain in 2 to 3 sentences. Okay? Similar to rule number 1, this particular statement is more specific. It does not have any impreciseness, right? It does not confuse chat GPT, right? So this is much better compared to the other one. Then we have rule number 5, do not, do not. Okay, so the title, ami jani, it seems a bit confusing, but what it really means is when designing your prompts, try to ask or instruct ChatGPT on what it should do, okay, and try to avoid asking it what it should not do, okay. For example, instead of asking ChatGPT to not generate violent or harmful content, তাকে আমরা জিজ্ঞেস করতে পারি generate positive and constructive responses that promote kindness and respect, okay. Similarly, instead of asking ChatGPT to not use overly technical language and jargon, we can ask it to use plain and accessible language. একইভাবে চ্যাট জিপিটিকে এটা জিজ্ঞেস না করে যে do not generate speculative or unfounded claims, তাকে আমাদের জিজ্ঞেস করা উচিত focus on providing evidence-based information and supported explanations, okay. So based on experimentation, we see that when designing prompts, it's usually better to ask or instruct ChatGPT on what it should do instead of what it should not do, okay. And there are some other rules as well that we should keep in mind. For instance, যখন আপনি prompting করবেন, you should keep in mind to be easy on ChatGPT, okay. You should give ChatGPT some time to think, okay. Do not give it a hard time, okay. Provide ChatGPT with examples and samples of output as you want, okay. Try to break down complex tasks into simpler subtasks, okay. যদি একটা কাজ it requires many steps, then it's always better to break down those steps as simpler subtasks, okay. Then try to choose the best and latest model and try to tweak with the parameters, and last but not the least, trial and error, okay. Some of the rules or techniques mentioned here, we'll learn more about these in the following videos, okay.